Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, I guess I didn't call the meeting to order, so I'll do that. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Open forum. Anyone here who would like to address the commission can do so at this time. There's no one in the audience. Is there anybody online?
I don't have the online function up and running.
Okay, very good. We will then close open forum and go on to council updates.
Yes, I've got one major update, I guess, for the committee, and that is we had a conversation or an open forum around Deerwood and putting lights and sidewalks there. There were a lot of people that came out against the lights for the most part. They don't want the lights on the road, but the sidewalk was a little more torn. There were a couple people for it and a couple people against it. The biggest reason people were against it is because of the maintenance and having to clear the snow and the requirement to clear the snow in the winter. So we are having the staff go back and look at some different options around that, and then they're going to bring it back to, I think, the council meeting this upcoming a week from now, right, Marty?
Yeah.
Yep.
If I could just make just one comment.
Mm-hmm.
Cloquet Island Park, we put in those trails, and if, as you recall, we never plowed those roads.
Cloquet
Yeah.
Overlook Park.
What Cloquet Overlook?
Yeah,
The Overlook trails get ploughed.
pardon me?
And you talk about Cloquet Overlook Park. The
We-
trails in there get ploughed.
We never maintained or plowed those in the wintertime. And
Cloquet Overlook Park, it gets plowed.
They're ploughed every.
let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. We never did do that. And so we discussed it, and then that's when we asked you to begin plowing it. And it is being used extensively now. And what I wanted to do is I wanted it cleared, not so in the bitter winter, it would be open, but it would be one of the first to thaw in the spring. So the people that don't want sidewalks plowed, I really question that. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I think what it's not that they don't want them ploughed, it's that they're going to have to plough them themselves, which they don't currently have to do, because the city doesn't maintain sidewalks on people's property. So it's an additional burden for them to have the sidewalk in front of their house.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, Marty. Sorry if I wasn't clear on that. I apologize.
Okay,
So do HOAs take care of the sidewalks then?
In some places, in other places not.
So
Depends
it's
on.
inconsistent then, what we do in
Yeah.
the city?
Well, yeah, so like where I live, the HOA takes care of the sidewalks if you're in a villa or a separated townhome, essentially, or lifestyle home. They call them different in every development, but the same idea of like they don't plow their own driveways or mow their own grass. The HOA takes care of all of that. However, the single-family homes in the development are responsible for clearing their own sidewalks.
Over in Hayden Hills, they have two different HOAs in there. One of them takes care of all of the ploughing and the mowing and stuff, and the other one does, I'm not sure exactly what they do, but they do a lesser maintenance program on the single-family homes. So it's with the HOAs, it's a lot of different things.
Either way, technically the landowner is responsible. The question is whether or not your HOA fees cover that being cleared or not.
So is the city enforcing that then?
How do we enforce that, Marty?
Generally, it's if neighbours aren't clearing their driveway, their sidewalks, we'll get a phone call, and then we will send out the community service officer to take a look at it.
With most ordinances in the city, we don't actively go out in search of ordinance offenses. It's once a neighbor calls in and says, hey, my neighbor's not taking care of this, can you help out with it? Then they go take care of it. I will tell you, like in our neighborhood, for example, the person that's across the street from me doesn't have a 2-stage snow blower, so we all help out, right, when we get heavy snows. It's just a neighborly thing to do, and I think that you probably see that a lot, and it's just,
Yes.
I would call it being a good neighbor, but some people might take offense to that, so.
I just think that the lots on Deerwood are awfully big.
And we were looking at last year trying to promote neighborhoods to help seniors who are struggling with snow blowing and stuff in the winter. That was something that Teresa was working on. So we'll try and pick that up and move it on.
And
But
Zach and I
it's-
talk about that every week.
Oh, okay, well, all right. I really think it's a good idea. I think that we should do it, but
That and adopt a hydrant is the other one
Yeah,
that Zach
those
and I
two
talk
we're gonna
about on a
run
regular
together, yeah.
basis to make sure that all the hydrants get snow blown out, because technically as the homeowner, if you have a hydrant in your front yard, you're responsible for ensuring that it gets cleared out 3 feet on all sides. Is the requirement that the fire department asks for usually. Usually it's 3 feet. I don't know
Yeah,
if Dayton has a
3
official
feet.
yet.
if possible.
How do we publish that?
That's the key right there. And we're going to have some kind of a program, but there was a paint the hydrant to make it your own and type of things to sponsor that kind of thing. But I haven't got a hard plan for it at the moment. It's only by, please do it. If you don't, then the city has to do it when we get to it. But there's quite a few people that do take care of this, and some of the HOAs will take care of those as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say it's a requirement, do you mean it's an obligation as far as there's an ordinance, or is it just a
No, it's not an
suggestion?
Is there an ordinance, Marty? I don't know.
No, I don't believe it's
Okay.
an ordinance. I think it's more of a request from the fire department to
Okay.
keep it. We do have an adopt a hydrant program somewhere. I
Do we? Okay.
don't know exactly what that looks like. I haven't seen that.
Most cities have an ordinance around
Yeah.
it that they say if it's in your yard, you're responsible for it, so.
I think we would have to do some digging around, see where that is or what that looks like. I haven't personally seen it. I've just heard of it. So
I think the communicator could do a little bit better of communicating. That would be a good topic. Another great topic would be the people that mow their lawn and have the grass clippings go into the street. Not my problem, but
So
and we
this-
do once a year. There's information about that and what is an illegal discharge and those kind of things. There's some stormwater safety things
Right.
in there for that.
And you do
I'm
the
not
snow
talking about-
blowers. You do the snow removal one in the winter too. You do one
Yeah.
about the fire hydrants, and then about if
Yeah.
you snow blow a certain way, you can reduce the amount of snow that
Yeah.
ends up in your driveway. So
Yeah.
we do communicate that in the communicator, usually in the appropriate season.
be nice to see it every now and then. All right. Anything else?
I think that was the major update I had for this committee.
How about you, Marty?
I have a few things going on. Update on the pickleball courts in Hayden Hills, because that's a hot topic. The contractor is scheduled to be out this week to work on the surface in there. So hopefully we can get that leveled and sealed over the next week or so. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to do it.
Has he been working on it, or what's?
Pardon?
Has he been working on it, or is he just trying to get in a schedule?
We're trying to get on the contractor's schedule.
Okay.
He's scheduled to be out this week.
Okay, I'm just, we're into June, I'm just questioning why he hasn't been out earlier, but
Because he's busy.
we haven't paid that full bill yet, I hope.
Of course not, no.
Okay, good.
With other updates, Elsie Stevens, we've been having some discussions about the pedestrian bridges through there. The costs on those rose significantly through concrete pricing and various other situations that were discovered. Three Rivers Park District want to take their bridge out of the project at the moment. They have 3 or 4 bridges that they're working on next year that they're going to incorporate that in and get it rebid with those projects. So that probably won't happen until 2024. So there'll be a dead end for their trail, but we'll be signing it and putting all kinds of barricades in the way so it's safe so people don't tip into the ravine there. The North Bridge, that is the city pedestrian bridge. We're waiting to get some firm revised quotes on that. The city council asked us to pursue that a couple of meetings ago. There was a significant amount of increase on that, but I think that we have just about enough money in contingency to cover that additional cost. So,
What bridge is that again?
the North Bridge on the trail, the walking trail loop.
Oh, okay.
Leathers Park has been resprayed. It should be ready for seeding this week. The contractor is planning on being there this week to seed. So I was there today, and there's quite a lot of kill off there. I'm not sure if it's enough yet, or whether they have to go in and respray. But it's ongoing. It will get there.
Now, is that a viable, we're seeding this year yet?
Yeah.
Should we be waiting for the rainy season to begin?
No, they want to get it in the ground while the soil's warm still, so it can germinate. So that's the plan.
I spoke with Joe Pazendek, the guy who proposed it. He actually said this time of year for that kind of seeding is a good time. This was last year. He was saying, contrary to what I would have thought for turf grass, it's middle of the summer is an okay time to seed that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm certainly no prairie expert, but he is.
Yeah, I think prairie is a little bit of a different seed type, though. Yeah.
Boy, it's been-
I'm sure rain would help, though.
Boy, it
regardless.
sure has been so dry, wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a dust bowl down there right now. essentially.
yeah.
Or is the city gonna then water it or something like that?
I will talk with the contractor to see what his requirements are. But if we need to water it, we have a water truck, so we can water now.
Or maybe have the fire department practice on it?
They'll blow the seed out the
Yeah, I
ground.
was gonna say, don't threaten us with
Build a
good
couple
time.
of campfires out there, call the fire department.
Okay. Park improvements 2024 concepts. Paul Kangas has been working on those for the last couple of months. He's going to have something ready for the next Park Commission meeting, some concepts to look at. I had a meeting with DNR, I think it was last week. Every week's blending into the other one now, you know. They are planning on doing some overhaul work on the DNR landing on the Mississippi. It's long overdue some paving in there, but they're going to re-lay out how that looks. They're probably going to change the motorized access to the Crow River side, just because it's easier access into the water from that side, because we get the build-up of the sandbar down by the existing landing. So they're considering that. At this moment, it's a very high-level concept, but they wanted to talk with us because they'd want to be part of the water trails project, so we can incorporate a kayak canoe launch there as well. So that is all positive. They've got money in the budget and everything for it, so that would be good.
Excuse me, Marty, when are they planning on changing that?
I think next year.
Next year. Okay, thank you.
I think that's all I have. Yes, that's everything.
I did not get word, but did we get water trail funding from the state?
We're still waiting to hear from that. We probably won't hear till late July, August, and it's federal funding, not state funding.
Okay.
What % of the funds have we already raised for that, Marty? Ballpark.
Well, we have $100,000 from National Park Service, and then there's I think there's budgeted from the city 200,000 for this year, which we're hoping to use for plans and specs for the, to go out to bid in January or February if we can. So we've got a small amount. Kind of a lot of it hinges on the federal funding at this stage.
Thank you.
But yeah, we'll still be looking for other funding sources as much as we possibly can.
But we've got 100,000 from National Park Service?
Yeah.
That, you are saying that is the federal funds?
No, that's from the National Park Service. The federal funding that I've applied for the city is nearly $4 million for the phase one of the entire project. That's the one through the Dean Phillips's office. We got support from Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith on that as well. So they're all pushing for that funding for us.
Okay. And that funding would be used for,
Build out phase one, which is Elsie Stevens and the Gooding Park, with the Three Rivers Park District aspect of it as well, their trailhead.
okay, so that would include buildings.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Is if I could ask, the trail on Pine View, just at the bottom of the hill that goes east, it's gravelled now, looks like it, is that a driveway or is that a trail?
That's
Buildings, right?
That's a driveway. There's a bunch of property back there. One person
yeah.
purchased it, and they're building a home back there.
Yeah, there's a home going in there. Yes.
It looks like a trail, so can't we just take it over?
If you got the
To the
money.
middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Trail to
Sold.
somebody's house.
All in favor, aye? All
Just,
opposed, same sign.
Just talking about trails, I was up at Sundance Greens this morning, and they put in a nice new trail that goes through the woods off of the parkway over there. It's really, really nice little trail. If you get an opportunity, go and take a walk down that. It's
North-south? Is it north-south trail?
This is, no, why did you ask me this? It's closer to Fernbrook. It's that end of it.
Gotcha.
But it's just by where the two developments meet, where Sundance Woods and that portion of Sundance Greens is. You'll see it. There's a curb cut through there, and there's a nice trail through the woods. It's really, really pretty. Nice mature trees all the way around. It's very nice.
Who's responsible for the trail?
In what way?
Maintenance.
I think you're looking at it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think I think it's going to be a city trail to maintain.
Oh, okay.
Well, wouldn't that be clarified when they did the plans?
I haven't looked at the plans, to be
Okay.
quite honest. I only looked at it yesterday because it was built. I just thought I'd bring it up and let
Okay.
you know that it's in.
Appreciate you bringing it
Yeah.
up. Thank you.
Thanks. I want to go look
Nice
at
work.
it.
Yeah. So, David?
Nice work.
Okay, is there anything else, Marty?
No, I think I'm finished again.
Okay, next is our regular meeting, the Park Commission Orientation and Training Packet Review.
So this is something that Teresa was working on. I think she worked with you, Carrie, a little bit on this.
Yep.
It was kind of your initiative, I think.
Yes, it was.
And so this is the rough draft of this. We tabled it from the last meeting because it wasn't in very good shape. There's a lot of other references in there that need to be taken out. And I think from my conversation yesterday with Teresa, she's highlighted some of the things that she's not sure about in here and whether they're relevant. And the different, so I think basically it's a discussion document, and if we need to move this forward, I need to get some comments from you guys back on what you want to change out of here, and then we can incorporate that in and then bring it back a second draft, and hopefully we can get that approved. So there's a few areas that are highlighted in yellow.
I read through it. I think it looks pretty great. all the highlighted areas, I kind of figured they were uncertain, but I wasn't sure, so that's good clarification. They highlighted volunteer members, is that because we're technically paid some, maybe?
Mm.
You know why she highlighted them?
I think that the Park Commission, volunteer members, is it a 3-year appointment?
Yes.
Okay, that shows my ignorance.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether it's 2
And-
or 4.
And some have opted not to collect the payment.
Okay.
Otherwise, it seemed accurate to me, so that's why I was just guessing at the reasoning for that highlighting.
Right, so it might be that we just need to take out the word volunteer.
Okay.
And then it would match up with what it says for planning commission, it just doesn't have that language there. Consists of X members. And then I see F was highlighted, because I'm guessing because we don't liaison to the city council, instead we have a council
Yeah.
liaisoning to us.
We did back in the day. Go ahead. You brought it up. About us. I was going to say, you brought it back up a few months ago that we should have somebody, we used to have somebody who would report to the council meetings and go and just report what we spoke about and everything like that. I still think it's a good idea. Initial concept was the chair or vice chair, but I'm not going to voluntold anybody.
I think I would love to see every committee come twice a year in front of the council. My thought is once at the beginning of the year to talk about what we did last year, what the plans are this year, and then once halfway through the year, right before budget season, so that way you can say, this is what we've done so far, this is what we plan for the rest of the year, here's what we need a budget for next year. So you can talk to us before the budget's made, not afterwards. So that was the idea. I think Zach was working with you, Doug, well, after the one meeting, he had come and talked to you about it to pick a date to come in. So I don't know whatever happened with that, but you two we're conversing over it. That's the last I'd heard.
It would be okay with me. I think it would be a positive feature for us to. There are two different methods of how the council and how the park commission works. When I first joined the park commission, Samantha was in charge. She was the administrator. And she interviewed us and said, this is a working commission. We expect you to be involved in projects. And so as it went forward and we got bigger, basically the commission shows up and we talk about stuff, and it's really up to Marty's Public Works Department to put things together. So I'm not sure where we stand as far as a park commission goes. We say our 2 cents, it goes to the council and they do whatever they want to with it. Is that the way we want things to work?
So I would say we're trying to do whatever we'd want with it with the council. We listen to the committee's feedback. We may not always agree with the committee, and we have the option to choose an alternative choice if we so see fit for whatever reason. But in general, we highly take into account all of the committee's feedback, whether it's the Parks Committee or the Planning Committee or the EDA or whoever it may be. When those items come in front of us, we then take a look at them. And actually, if there's items that have gone through any of those, I usually go back and listen to the meeting where it was discussed so I can hear the conversation about it. So I would say the comments that you make aren't falling on deaf ears, is what I would say to that. But yes, based on the way it's set up, every commission is set up that way, and that you make recommendations to the council, but the council has the final decision when it comes down to that. The council is also the only group that's voted upon by the citizens, which is part of the reason why. So as far as the rest, I mean, when it came to figuring out where we wanted paths, so use the right term, I want to pause and use the right term, paths with the path budget that the committee had. I mean, Marty brought forward to y'all a list of the paths and where, you know, what they would cost to kind of get things done, and then you all talked through that, right? I think that was last meeting or 2 meetings ago, something like that. One or the other.
It was last meeting.
Last meeting.
Yep. And so you guys had a lot of input into that and designing and working on that. So if there's more that you're looking to be involved in, I think Marty's always looking for help. So it's one of those things where I don't think, I'm going to let Marty speak, but I don't think that Marty would turn down help on trying to get things figured out.
No, I don't want it to be that at all. I think that you guys can have a much bigger role or a much smaller role. Depends where you guys want to go. And I think that's been kind of an impetus for some of the stuff that we're doing here, is to enhance your role and get you involved in projects more earlier if we possibly can, and get your input. But, you know, it depends, you know, on your appetite and how much you want to drive this thing forward. I know that, you know, some members have a real desire, passion for trails and stuff, and so, you know, David's been bringing that to the forefront on a regular basis. So I think, you know, if we can do more of that kind of stuff and drive things along, I think that'd be great. And I think it would be more. I think it would help the Park Commission if we did make a lot more recommendations to put in front of the council as well. I think that would highlight what we're doing, the work that you guys are doing.
I agree with you.
And I'm hopeful that these twice-a-year meetings will make that easier, because if there's something you want to do next year, and you come in right about now, right, the next month or so before we start doing budgeting, we can figure out if we can get it in the budget or not, or what that looks like. Because right now, a majority of the budget for the, and Marty, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding from talking to Zach is majority of your budget comes from new homes being developed. In the last few years, there's been a lot of homes being developed, but this year we're on pace to do like 100, I think, or something like that. It's much lower than it has been the past few years, with increased interest rates and costs and those kind of things. The housing market's kind of slowed down, and so the budget's going to get smaller comparatively to what it's been the last 3 years, because we're going to have less homes being built. So if there's something that we need to do, we need to address, I would recommend that. Again, I'm not saying the council is going to approve it, because I don't even know what it is, but what I would say is you probably want to figure out what you want to do and get in front of the council before budget season. Budget season starts in August?
Budget, yeah.
June, July, August, this general time.
Yeah, we've already done budgets for department heads. We haven't done CIP stuff yet.
Yeah.
So the
When's CIP?
That's in the next couple of months.
Yeah, so it's
July,
something
August.
that, you know, the first half of the year trying to figure out what you want to do next year is really good, so that way you can get it in front of the council and hopefully get some stuff done the following year. Unfortunately, to my big dismay, everything moves slow in the government. I know Marty hates hearing me say it, and it's not Marty moves slow. Marty runs around like a chicken with his head cut off in a good way. He's really busy, but it's just things take time to get done because of the way everything works. And so, yeah.
I would also lean on what Matt's saying. It'd be good to, you know, itemize our projects. So, you know, if our funding source is drying up, there may be some grant funding that we can apply for to help us get those things. If we get those things on our CIP, it helps us to apply for grants and all that other good stuff. So I think as a city, we're starting to look at more grant opportunities. I know for sure I've been looking at a lot of things for water and the water trails thing. So, I mean, there are grant funds out there. We just need to identify them and have a serious project. A lot of these things want a project that's ready to go as soon as they commit the money to it. So,
And that takes years of planning. That
Correct.
isn't just this year we want it, next year. It's like the next 4 to 5 years we want to see X, Y, Z done.
Exactly.
How can we find funding for it? And you're working at it constantly. Marty's helping, but you're working at it constantly to get that done.
So then question, if Paul is working on plans for 2024 for parks for us to look at,
Yep.
and we're going to get our first few in August, but you're going to be knee-deep in budgeting and CIP stuff come August, September, you're going to need a decision from us so we can come to the board and say, hey, this is a park we really want to focus on.
we've already got funding for the next for 2024's CIP. We've got the parks already budgeted for in there.
Parks Fund's got
So
$2
we-
million. It kind of piles up.
So what parks have we identified that we want to do in 2024?
It's ones that you guys identified, I believe. I've got to remember now. It's the Four Corners Park over there
Okay.
off of 117th. We've got to do some work on the Ione Gardens area. And then what he was working on the community playfield. but that property is that we were looking at as kind of not happening at the moment, so we're holding on that. So there's the Four Corners Park and Iron Gardens is where we're looking at the moment.
So that and the trails we discussed a couple meetings back.
And the two were funded from different. The trails has got a separate fund.
I
for it.
understand that. Yep.
Yeah.
But all of that money, I believe, came from, I mean, I could be wrong, because
Yeah.
Zach's not here to verify, but I'm 90% sure that all that money comes from new homes being built.
Yes.
Yep.
It is. None of it comes out of the general fund.
Thank you. Yep.
Sorry, that was new information to me that we were looking at those two, and I see a few other pens going right and down the park. So it's good to know those concepts are coming forward,
Yeah.
so then we can speak to them,
Yeah.
hopefully prior to budget time.
Yes.
So then, relating back to what Matt was saying, on page 6, with the structure and function of the Park Commission, paragraph 2, the chairperson is a presiding officer. Can we put a little annotation in there that he will also attend 2 meetings a year to give park updates? Would that be a good spot for that?
And then we could scratch the liaison section, because that would cover it.
Where was that? Sorry.
So under A, structure, number 1, officers,
Okay.
the second paragraph down where it states the chairperson is the presiding officer at all meetings. If we could just add the little annotation there that will attend 2 council meetings to provide updates, and then whatever you added as
There was a
well.
highlighted paragraph about having a liaison, and I'm guessing it was highlighted because we don't do that right now.
Okay.
And that would
Yeah.
effectively, I think, cover
Yeah,
it.
that covers that off.
Yeah, it's page 12, item F.
And I think it would probably be a good idea to let that be any member of the Park Commission, just so that it doesn't affect the chair or vice chair if they have a conflict or something like that.
And so in scheduling those, Zach's trying to schedule them on a date that works for the individual that's going to do it. My recommendation would be that one person may present, but if it were me, I would say the entire committee should try to be present at least for the meeting, because
Showing support,
yeah, that would be my recommendation. I don't know if it has to be in there, but that would be my recommendation, just as a aside.
Sure.
Yeah. And I don't think it matters who presents. That's up to you all to decide. As long as somebody, the chair's just the easy choice because they're the chair.
Other duties as assigned. The paragraph above that, one that I just spoke of, so again, page 6, structure, number 1, officers. So the first paragraph, the very second to the last sentence, the chair, vice chair elected at appointed park commission members at the July meeting. We generally don't have July meetings. Can we change that to August election?
Sure.
Is there a reason it's not done in January?
Is there-
A lot of the other committees
Good
seem to do it in
question.
January.
I don't know how it's got to be in July. It can be any time you want, I think, but I think that
It's probably because our
different people.
terms go from
Yeah.
July
Oh,
to July.
yeah.
That's what I was
Makes
going to
sense.
say. I think that.
That
yeah.
would make sense.
So it would make sense if new people are joining in July that we hold it in August. But I think that's why they probably have July, is because
Yeah, I think
that's
you're
our
right.
term.
And I
Yep.
can't remember the last time we had a July meeting.
That's
Or-
because we're all applying then, and the city council is choosing.
Also, because it's like, what, July 5th
4th
this
of
year, I
July,
think?
Yeah.
So it's always on, right on
Yeah,
around
4th.
July 4th, and so
July
that's
4th.
probably part of the reason why.
All in favor of August, say aye.
I made a note to put it in August. So are we okay with August?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. There is just that sentence right above, though. It says no member may serve more than 3 consecutive 3-year terms. We had talked about that in another meeting because I had brought it up if we wanted a limit, and everybody said it didn't matter. We didn't need one. So I think you can take that sentence out unless you guys have changed your minds.
Is that in the bylaws? That's one of my
in
only.
part of the structure of officers there.
Yeah, I don't know if
Section
it's in
two.
the.
City
yeah.
bylaws, though.
What I'm trying to say is, I not saying one way or the other is right, or disagree with what you're saying, Carrie. What I'm trying to understand is a lot of the committees were approved by the council under certain bylaws. So I don't know if it's in the bylaws that you can't serve more than 3 consecutive 3 years. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
We
I
have to
don't-
look.
Because when I brought it up, I was told that we didn't I thought I was told we didn't have it.
Let me check the bylaws for that
But
before we make
yeah,
any
if it's in
changes.
the bylaws, I'm fine with it
Yeah.
staying. I just thought if it wasn't, it shouldn't be in there.
Okay, I'll try and check the bylaws on that.
I'm pulling it up now.
Fourth paragraph
Every
down,
3 years.
recording secretary, do we have one?
Well, it says at the very end, it says it's contracted by the city through
Yeah.
Time Savers.
The recording, got it.
So,
City code only mentions the 3 years. I don't see anything. Term of each member shall be 3 years. Original and successive appointees shall hold their respective offices until successors are appointed and qualified. I don't see a limit there. It does also mention annually on or before October 1, render a full report to council, which we're kind of talking about now anyway.
So in that fourth paragraph on secretarial service, that is, they typed that up based on the recording that,
On the recording, yeah.
so do we know why she highlighted E, F, and G? Like, is that something we're supposed to?
No, I think that,
I think those are great to have in there as long as city staff agrees with the language in them.
Yeah, I like that they're there. I just didn't know if we needed to do something.
no, you didn't. I think she was just questioning if
valuable.
they had any value for you.
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the note about, public meeting rules, regulations. What I'm not seeing is kind of how we can work outside of a meeting by, communicating with our city contact. That'd be maybe good to include, like, send an email to your,
I think that is in here,
or is it?
actually,
I'm just not
yeah.
finding it. Cool. If it isn't in there, that'd be great, because that was a big thing I was wondering until we hashed that out. Talks about serial meetings and conference calls.
Maybe,
Yeah, where is that at? I'm not seeing
maybe I
it.
saw something else that was it in the small stuff?
Page 9, Carrie.
Page 9,
Thanks,
thank you.
On page 12, you say that the Park Commission, any commissioner may be removed from the Park Commission by the council without cause for any reason at any time. Could that be a conflict, or not a conflict, but it seems like you're asking for trouble.
Or are they saying you serve at the will of the council?
That's how I would read it, especially with B in the function that we provide recommendations. We don't approve or deny anything. Or cannot grant or deny requests, and that's what it is.
I think it looks good.
What was that?
Said I think it looks good. I don't have any other questions on it.
Marty, at the end, can we add a link to the city's comprehensive plan, the current one? It's on page 10, the first paragraph. It states that the Park Commission members will be familiar with the city's comprehensive plan. Just make it easier for us to find rather than sift through everything. If we add a number 11 link, the city's current comp plan.
That's on page 10, yeah?
On 10, the first paragraph, the second sentence, the comprehensive, or the third sentence, the Park Commission members must become familiar with the city's comp plan.
Yep.
You want that added to part 4 on page 13 though, right?
Yeah, just a link on page 13, number 11 or something.
Under educational resources, listing on the websites, just adding a website.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Link to the comprehensive plan. Yep.
It's a good idea.
I think I can make these changes that we discussed this evening. If you have any further corrections, I can add those in before the next meeting, and then we can review the full document with a second draft, basically, of what it looks like.
Should we just email you if we think of
just
something
email.
else?
Yeah, you could
Okay.
email Teresa, but I can't guarantee you get a response.
So basically just to approve a final draft then.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping we can get it done in the second draft, and we can approve that, and then we'll have a final draft. I suppose we would have to put that through the council for approval.
They should definitely see it before it's
Yeah.
finalized.
So we'll put a staff report together and present it to the council.
That'll be done next month?
I can't guarantee it'll be next month.
Well,
why
we're
would
not meeting next month.
Yeah, we're not meeting in July, but why wouldn't we present that coming up in October, as this is what the Planning Commission has put together for the year so far. Here's our bylaws, what we're thinking we can do, and then trails and the other 2 parks that were brought up as well.
In October? Are you thinking in
September,
front for
October.
the council? Is that what you're saying?
if we're gonna come up and present something,
Yeah.
you know, we put the most time in this and some trail stuff.
We'll
I'm
have to work
fine
with
with,
Zach. I think Zach's trying to get everyone in June or July
okay,
or August, but I'll let you work with Zach on it.
okay. Okay, that's fine. I'll get the date for that and we'll work towards that.
I'm a little confused on what's due when. We have the budget, we've got the CIP,
Budget's in already. CIP is July, August. That's the start of the process.
that is for the council, not the park commission.
Well, we're a little bit behind the eight ball, but I would like to get these trail segments at least sorted out and see if we can get those involved in the CIP for the next session. We've already got the stuff for CIP for the next parks already set aside, so that's already there. If we want to do these new trail segments that we've been discussing, we should finalise what we're looking for in those and get some hard numbers and get that entered into the CIP. See where that fits into the CIP with the budget that we have there currently. So that's going to be July, August time.
So that could be done for our next meeting?
Yeah, if we're meeting in August, I'm going to try, I've got to have a meeting with engineering to discuss right of way and some other issues that they identified. I want to have engineering come to the next meeting and discuss that with you guys. They have a couple of different ideas that may help us move forward with the funds in a economic way. So I think it's important to get them in, and then we can get some really firm numbers for them. If we need to buy right away, obviously that changes, the cost of the trail. So
You can get high-level numbers on the CIP though with all the details, right?
for sure,
Yeah. So even if all the engineering stuff isn't back, we can still get on the CIP.
we will take a best guess at it, kind of like we did for the initial thing. But now we've identified actual areas, we can take a little bit more of an in-depth look at it and see what if there is right away, or if there's a couple of areas where there's a deep culvert in some of those areas that we might have to have some special engineering done to get across the ravines and stuff. So it's just that level of detail that we're going to move to from the very broad picture that we started with. So that will be, I was planning on having that at the August meeting.
So, as I am understanding this, the feeling is that we'll cancel the July meeting, but move the August meeting?
That would still have the August meeting at the same time, first Tuesday in August.
And y'all don't have to cancel the July meeting. If you want to have a July meeting, you can have a July meeting, right, Marty? There's nothing
You
that
can't have a
says-
July meeting.
But
The 4th,
we've
right?
got,
Tuesday?
The 4th of July is the first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can meet on the 5th or a different day of the week, though, if need be.
That week is going to be a little bit tricky for me because I'm not going to be around that week. But if need be, I can come back and do the meeting in the evening. So,
I don't want to do that.
why?
That's not fair to you.
I can't recall ever having a July meeting as long as I've been on here.
Yeah.
Same with January, seem to always cancel the January one too. I'd have to look through the records, but
I don't keep a track on that stuff.
Well, we got National Night Out on the, what is it, the first Tuesday of the month?
Is it the first Tuesday in August?
Probably.
that's usually a conflict too.
Well, we can change the date to the Monday or whatever you guys choose, We do have that flexibility.
Could you do it like towards the end of July? The week before or something, if that's easier? Since we're not doing a July meeting.
Yeah, I think you could do.
Yeah. Are we moving on, Mr. Chair, to notices and announcements then?
Not that far yet.
Okay.
Sorry. Page 11, Submitting questions for city staff, item D. To John's question, if we have questions for other council members, can we put something in there as far as communication? How, if he has a question for me regarding some trail somewhere, it's always been said that we have to email the city staff, and the city will email the information out. Is that
Right.
So can we add something like that in here? Either submitting questions to city staff or fellow council members, all flow of information must flow through the city staff?
I think it does go through city stuff only because of the closed meeting.
Right.
Which we
And
found
that's-
out when I emailed everyone and got my hand slapped.
Right.
So I think
So
that'd
if
be good to put in the
add that
manual
in
before
here.
we have to find out the hard way that we're potentially violating data practice rules. I think that's
Meeting rules.
That's what I was getting at exactly.
Right, especially if it's new member packet going through here, things like that. Then my next question or thought, with our Parks Commission meeting here, it really doesn't state anywhere if it's formal, informal. Not sure where appropriately to put that, but my concern would be, as we're representing the citizens of the city, is there any kind of dress code? Should we be business casual, or can we be board shorts and flip-flops, or, I know it's in the details, but, you know.
Not happy with what I'm wearing today?
No, that's not what I'm getting at.
I mean,
all,
I'm
but
wearing shorts and flip-flops, I'll admit it.
If
But
I were to come in earlier with ripped jeans and dirt on, I mean, is that approved, or does it not matter?
I'd
So
sit
it's
up there in flip-flops and shorts too, so I guess
Yeah.
are we
don't-
informal then?
I don't think I've never been aware of any formal dress code for meetings in the city. I think people are left to their own devices on that, and I think.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Good to know.
I don't think we need to.
You should have seen some of the old timers.
Sweatpants, Tube Top Tuesday.
They're wearing a shirt, it was a good day.
Coveralls,
I'll be quiet now.
Be
What's
careful.
wrong with
I might-
coveralls?
straight from the field.
Right, Hilmer Hartman reminds me of that.
Yeah, you better be careful. I might turn up at the next one in my Saturday night frock.
You let me know, I'll match you.
You guys can put it in there if that's a decision y'all want to make.
Just thought I'd throw that out there. Since it doesn't say we're formal or informal, doesn't matter. And if not, okay, let's roll it.
I mean, I did wonder it as well when I started. Not wearing my Sunday best, but I'm also not showing up in a tank top.
I think if you just watch some of the council
That's
meetings,
exactly what I did.
yeah, idea.
All right, ties it is.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Tuxedo t-shirt.
That's fantastic.
So, is that conclude our review?
I've got nothing further.
Same.
Same.
So Marty, you're going to take this information and,
I will make the alterations we discussed tonight. If anybody's got further information, just email it to me. If you've got other alterations you want to do, I'll incorporate those, pull a draft 2 together for our next meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Commission or training review. Next on the agenda is a notice and announcements. The next Park Commission meeting, July. The consensus is to cancel the July meeting, is that correct?
I don't believe this is even open on July 4th. We can't meet here.
No. But you can change the date.
Right.
I don't think anyone wants to meet on the 4th, but the 4th isn't the only day of the month that we have to meet either. We could pick a different day of the week or a different week of the month potentially, I think. And it sounds like we have stuff to talk about with upcoming, meetings with council and budgets, but
And I think August 1st, which is the next one, is National Night Out. Is that what you were saying,
yeah,
Doug?
I'm looking at it
Or
here.
whatever they call it now. I'm sorry if that's not the right term. I forget what it's. The
It says
night to
National
night.
Night out on our website.
Okay.
I have seen night to night as well, though.
Should be.
Okay, in July, let me see.
With this space.
August 2nd, Tuesday, August 2nd. So there's either our website is wrong about that, or August 1st is wrong in our packet.
No, August 1st is a
August 1st,
Tuesday.
yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Okay, so
Marty, you want to have Zach update that?
Second?
Our website says Night to Unite is Tuesday, August 2nd, which is a Wednesday.
On the police
Okay, well, that's
section.
fine. Okay.
I'm not going to be in the country in July, and I'm not going to be in the state in August, so.
So, how about the rest of the members? Is there a preferred date?
Be around. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm generally tied up with Lions and Fire Department once I'm done with Fire Academy, but otherwise I'm free.
Wednesday, Thursdays, I'm usually booked as well.
Can we do Tuesday, July 25th?
Can make that work. Anybody else?
Is this room open
gotta
that
look.
day?
Quick scramble to the personal calendar.
Tuesday, July 25th should be a city council meeting, because it's the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So this room will be occupied.
And we won't be able to record the meeting.
I'm around the 18th, for what it's worth.
So do we know when this room is open?
6:30 until, whenever the council meeting ends,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
be full.
What do we have
No,
in
I mean,
July?
like,
Oh.
overall.
Gotcha.
Because I know planning,
That's-
so is it usually
Planning's
that?
Thursday nights.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Are we all on Tuesdays, so we need to pick a different day?
No.
Because they're busy Wednesdays.
Just Parks and Council are Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So
Planning is third Thursday, yeah.
Planning's first Thursday.
Oh, is it first Thursday?
EDA, I think, is also a Thursday morning.
it's a daytime, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 7:30 in the morning, so it shouldn't be a problem.
What do we have to talk about in July?
I think this,
The packet?
the ratification of the packet for recommendation to the council at their next meeting.
Marty, will you have enough time to get that done?
I'll try.
Good point.
Well, we want to make sure you have room.
Right, because we can do the meeting later in August. It's just if we can't meet the first week in July or the first week in August. Should we just find another time in August instead?
It would be easier for me for where I'm sitting at the moment to do it sometime in August, just because I've got to
August
pick
it
up a
is.
lot of things.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's perfect then.
August it is, different day.
What's the 8th look like?
That's council meeting,
That's council meeting? Okay.
15th?
15th.
Does that look good for everybody?
I'll be out of town, but if I'm the only one, then go for it. I could
Will you
always
be
virtual.
in state?
August 15th?
Yes, sir.
You said you'd be available with Zoom?
I can be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can make August 15th work. The only question is, if that's when we're getting the information
Yeah.
for the parks, then are we going to miss the CIP window if we're going that late in August?
No, we can add to the CIP a little later. I can earmark some stuff in there. Best
Okay.
guess is no.
Because I just don't want to miss that. If
Yeah.
we're holding off for the packet, I don't want to miss the CIP
Do you,
for the parks.
Could you do something early? I mean, could you do something like Wednesday the 2nd of August?
I could make that work.
Maybe we could skip the
What?
dinner meeting.
Um,
Lions would have a dinner meeting that night.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
What's that?
The Lions, we belong,
Jack
both
and I
on
would
Lions.
Otherwise have a dinner meeting for the
Yeah.
Lions.
That would be okay.
We could bring them along.
Yeah, several members don't live in the city. How about the 9th?
I'm good for that.
Okay.
Calendar's open.
It's not a council meeting in here?
It's a Wednesday.
No, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I could do Wednesday, the 9th of
Okay.
August.
Why can't we meet on Mondays?
It's Monday, fun day, do nothing day.
I've
I
I've
don't know if
only
anyone
got
proposed.
one
I mean,
eye
you could
open.
propose a Monday.
The 31st?
No, I'll be out of town.
That's why we can get on Mondays.
Do you want to do Monday the 7th?
That would be fine.
Those are for me.
I'll make that work.
There's nothing on the city website either for that day, so this room
Yeah.
should be open.
August 7th. Okay, we got a consensus to do it then?
I'm game. Let's do it.
So,
Pull the trigger, somebody, come on.
I'll make the motion to have our next meeting be Monday, August 7th.
Aye.
I'll second it.
motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Any other announcements?
Nope.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to discuss? I would entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Don't break down the door. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.